Our world is changing. It's time for fresh ideas and new points of view. I'm Yana Peel, Global Head of Arts and Culture at Chanel. And this is Chanel Connects, bringing together creative game changers from film, art, dance, music, and more.
Can you hear me, Charles?
Yeah, I can.
Hi, Emerald.
Hey, it's so nice to meet you.
It's great to meet you, John.
Great to finally meet you, Annika.
Thanks for having us.
Some are old friends and collaborators. Others are meeting for the first time. All are focused on what matters most and what's coming next. And now we get to listen in.
Could you tell where my head was at when you found me? Me and you went to hell and back just to find peace.
In this episode, we're connecting Maisie Williams and Grimes. Actor Maisie Williams is best known for her portrayal of Arya Stark in the television series Game of Thrones. Arya's transformation from vulnerable young girl to ruthless assassin on a quest for vengeance made her a favorite with fans and earned Maisie 2 Emmy Award nominations for Outstanding Supporting Actress in a Drama Series. Maisie has a keen interest in technology and the way it can be harnessed to support the arts. Alongside new acting projects, she has also established herself as a successful entrepreneur, founding a production company called Wrapped and 2 networking platforms designed to help creatives. Maisie connects with the musician Grimes, whose daring, category-defying work blends pop, electronica, and the avant-garde. Her album Visions broke through when it was named Electronic Album of the Year at the Canadian Juno Awards, and was then chosen as one of the 500 greatest albums of all time by NME. She describes her latest album, Book One, as her greatest work to date. In this episode, Into the Metaverse, Maisie and Grimes discuss whether the future of performance is virtual. Hello, Maisie. Hello, Grimes. You are 2 artists I truly admire, and I am so happy to welcome you today to Chanel Connects. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thank you so much.
It's so great. Grimes, where does this find you? I am in a cold New York studio on a Monday afternoon. Where are you, Grimes? Where are you, Maisie?
I'm in London in a studio, and it is equally cold, and that's it.
I'm in Austin, Texas, and I don't think it's as cold as where you guys are, but it's still cold.
Fantastic. Well, I'm thrilled to bring you together because I know that it's probably been a while since you've seen each other.
Yes.
But I'd love to hear about how you became fast friends. Clearly, you've got so much in common.
Well, we met at the Met, we met at the Met after party, we've met before that kind of, but not like really.
Yeah. Well, I know that you definitely you came to the Game of Thrones set, right?
Oh yeah, I did come to the Game of Thrones set, but I missed you.
Yeah, I know. I missed you by like half a second, which was really sad. But then we properly met at the Met, so that was good.
Yeah. But yeah, I was telling Maisie, I think her performance of Arya might be one of the greatest, acting performances in all of cinema. Possibly my favorite character in all of cinema. So, I'm just obviously her number 1 fan. Well, I don't know. Maybe there's better fans than me. I don't know. But I'm high up there.
Amazing. And do you guys remember what you talked about that night? Obviously, Arya was up there, House of Black and White.
I actually feel like I just cornered you and was just talking about like the fashion industry. And I was just like going on and on about the difference between like expression and then just like strategic fashion partnerships and stuff.
I think we're talking art versus corporate art versus real art. I don't know. We talked about a lot of things. We
covered a lot of ground.
We were very sure that we were gonna meet up the next day and make a song, which we didn't do.
Well, here we are now. We've got an hour together. Anything could happen.
Yeah.
Well, we need Bella Poarch and Charlie XCX for this. So,
yes.
It's sort of a short film song thing that I forget exactly what it was.
It was a war anthem.
It was like a war anthem. I think there's going to be a lot of
Horses.
yeah, like and like we were going to learn a lot of martial arts for it.
Oh yeah.
This sounds like a very late night conversation.
Maybe.
Pretty
Now,
late
I remember
night.
you were wearing amazing outfits, both of you, on the night. And Grimes, if I'm not mistaken, there was a sword, there was a book. Maybe you could just paint a picture for these listeners about what you guys were both wearing at the Met Ball.
I think Maisie had bleached eyebrows, which she still might have.
I do.
Let's see, Maisie,
Nice.
get closer. Yep.
My look was kind of inspired by just like the heroines of the films that I grew up watching, specifically Trinity from The Matrix. And so I was wearing this
Sick.
like black, like layered dress, sculpted dress thing that my boyfriend Ruben Selby designed. And I had this like shockwave hair, which was like really heavy. But Grimes, I loved your look. I thought that it was ethereal and beautiful.
Thank you. I was kind of going for Sephiroth, you know, kind of Final Fantasy. But you know, the sword was made out of like melted down AR-15s and stuff, and I thought that was really cool. And the security were really stressed about letting me bring that in. They actually made me. I had to check it at the door.
Check your sword at the door.
Yeah, they didn't let me bring the sword in.
But you had the illuminated book.
Yeah, I had the illuminated book. It's like $15 on Amazon. It's great. Yeah,
It's
I mean, I just saw that.
skyrocketed in price.
Has it? I don't know. I'm curious.
And was the book teasing the album? Was that a literal connection to what's coming next?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, my album's called Book One, so I was definitely trying to like shout out my album, kind of. I also just think books are a great aesthetic. I think it's sort of an underrated aesthetic.
I love that idea that books do furnish a room. Is there something you're reading at the moment that's particularly inspiring?
Well, actually, I'm not. What am I reading? Let me see. It's on Audible, so I never actually know what I'm reading. I'm reading The History of Science, 1700 to 1900. I mean, I was like half asleep. I was just reading about Lavoisier and the new French chemistry, basically. It's not that, I was like barely awake while this is happening, so.
We won't quiz you on it.
Maisie, what are you reading?
I was reading Homo Deus, which is like this, sequel to.
Yuval Harari?
Is that good? Because I was just like re-listening to *Sapiens*.
Yeah,
That's
it's really good.
The follow-up, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really good, and it's also good like standalone. He kind of dives a little bit into like Homo sapiens.
Did you read *Sapiens*?
I did.
Sick,
Yeah.
sick.
Yeah. I really liked it. So it came to like Homo Deus like a long time after. But weirdly, like the other day, like I don't know where it came from, but like this book about manifesting showed up at my door, and like not a lot of people know my address, and I don't know who it's from, and there's no letter from it, and then it's like manifest the things that you want, and I was like, that's so weird that this book is here, and so that I'll start that at some point.
You should be sort of. It could be like a psychotic stalker.
Yeah,
It's probably a
kind-
friend, but I
could
just
be
keep an eye
friends.
on that.
Okay.
I love it. I'd love to hear what you're manifesting at the moment and why that's so poignant to you, because it sounds like it maybe landed just at the right time.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. I think I definitely told myself this year to like enjoy the auditioning process more. And I feel like I've been doing that and it's been paying off. So maybe I'm manifesting the next role or something. I don't know. Yeah.
Auditioning seems so freaky.
Yeah, well, it's just a lot of rejection. And so you have to find something else to like base the like joy of it off of other than getting the role, because otherwise you'll always feel like it's horrible.
Maisie, I loved in your TED Talk how amazing that was to go back to that audition
Yeah.
10 years back. Can you touch on that? Because I found that such an amazing anecdote about focusing on being talented, not just being famous.
Yeah, I think I also I rose to fame at the same time as like the Facebook influencer and the YouTube influencer, and like the access to like the world of being globally famous was just like so many avenues had like splintered off, and so I just really recognized like the need and the want for like global recognition versus like actually doing something that's really fulfilling, because like I knew that being an actor was really fulfilling, and I knew that being famous like could be really unfulfilling, and I just like thought it was really important for people to, however you get famous, you realize that like that's not the best part of it. It's like, yeah, doing things that make you feel like you're expressing. And so yeah, it was kind of my advice to people. But to be honest with you, like people can do whatever they want.
I mean, I feel like that must have been trippy though, to also like, because you would have been like really young when you first kind of like became famous, which I just feel like you probably have no concept really. Like, do you remember even like not being famous, or like is it pretty much it's been kind of your whole life?
I do remember not being famous, but it definitely felt like another part of my life and like not really attached to me. And then I think now that when I came off the show, I was trying to be like, well, what did I do before? And like before I was like 11. So then I was like, well, I can't fully just do that. But you can definitely take like parts of your like mentality from that time, I guess. How do you find fame, Grimes?
I mean, I think I try to keep my personal life like really offline, and like most of my friends are not famous people or whatever. So I actually kind of like, I feel like I'm pretty able to kind of forget about it in the daytime. Like it's not something like, especially now that I'm not living in a major city, really, it's, I would say I work pretty hard to cultivate a reality that doesn't involve remembering my public figure-ness, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
And then whenever I do remember it, it's like very jarring because I kind of like actually forget about it. So, but yeah, no, I think it's kind of important to like keep the daytime really like in the real world, I guess, if that makes any sense. I think we were kind of talking about this at the Met, but like when you get into situations with people who spend all day being famous, like you start realizing that they get like very socially stunted. And it's like it's almost like they forget how to like talk about anything besides like their thing, because like all they do is like talk about their thing, and like all anyone ever asks them about is like their thing. And so it gets like socially very weird very fast, I find. And yeah, I don't know. I think it's very important to not fall into that situation.
Do avatars play a role in getting you away from that thing? I was just thinking about War Nymph, and of course, Maisie, you've had so many avatars created for you for CGI. Yeah. Does that alter ego, in a sense, create a safer space in terms of exploring another side of your personality or anonymity?
I am excited at the prospect of an avatar being able to do all of the famous parts, like all of the interviews or like anything like that. It's exciting to get to that point, maybe. But at the moment, my avatars just do all of the fun things, all of the like impossible stunts. So, but that's which is still cool. But
wait,
I'd like to experience that?
Do they use avatars as like body doubles for you, or like in what capacity? I don't know anything about this, so I'm like new to hearing that you have a bunch of avatars. But I'm curious, like how you're able to use them.
Like in a sense of the word, yes. Like it's the body, but there's like no personality really linked to it. It's like a virtual puppet that they can then like animate, but they take a complete 3D render of yourself. So there's like a virtual version of yourself. But currently, like every production will do a different one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it's like there's no like one like avatar that exists and can do everything. And so for like Game of Thrones there's one, and then for like the Marvel thing there was one. But it's kind of interesting to look at like when there can be one, like just solely one, and they can do all kinds of things, whether it's like those impossible stunts or if it's like going more into like an actual personality and like an AI, which is kind of cool.
I think we're going to need like, because in order for that to happen, like, in order for you to be able to have your singular avatar that can cross into like any video game or any, public thing that you do, Like, I think there's going to have to be like a major copyright change or something. Like I keep thinking about this because like this feels like the goal, like the Ready Player One like ultimate future is that you're able to like move through any world with your sort of basic avatar, but it also seems like either one corporation is going to have to sort of like maintain control or like get control for this to happen, and we all make our avatar in like the Disney app and like they own it, or else like Fortnite and Disney and whoever else are going to have to be letting in a third party situation. And I mean, I don't think anyone here has the answers, but like I'm just so curious how that's going to unfold.
Are you optimistic about Web3, this new decentralized, democratized version of the internet, a web without borders?
I think I am actually optimistic about it because I think ultimately corporations and stuff are going to like lean into what people want. I mean, what kind of sucks is that like, you know, you look at like Web3 right now and it's like getting like really dominated by corporations and stuff like so fast. It's actually like interesting to watch how fast it's happening. It's almost like it started being something cool and it just immediately capitulated like overnight. Like as soon as it started feeling like a real subversive, interesting thing, it just got like, I don't know, like sledgehammered with like corporate interest. Like it's kind of crazy. Like I'm almost like watching this happen and I'm like, man, it's almost just like even like 10 days ago I was like, yeah, like Web3, and like right now I'm just like, this shit's getting like out of control. How quickly it's like falling into just like this, like, you know, Fortnite are releasing NFTs and shit, and I'm just like, okay, I don't even know what's going on here. Like, it's
wait, take us back to let's take us to Warren and your NFTs.
Okay, sorry. Okay,
I'd love to hear about Warren of Nono, what she was like, why you created her, and also your NFT drop was so incredibly successful last year. So take us back to that place just to give us a reference. That would be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, we started making War Nymph, I think, aspirationally with this kind of like idea in mind of like when there can be independent avatar ownership and you can sort of bring your avatar into any other world. We started like aspirationally making it with that in mind. Yeah, also it's kind of crazy because when we did the NFT thing, there hadn't really been big NFTs yet. So like we were like, we didn't even really know what it was, or like we knew what it was, but it didn't seem like it was going to be that big of a cultural impact at that point. So we were just, it was just kind of like, hey, sure, let's do this thing. Like it just seemed like a random thing. Like it's just like a random, like, yeah, sure kind of situation. And so it was very crazy.
Were you surprised by the $6 million that it generated, or were you more surprised by the cultural impact in the headlines of Grimes drops 10 NFTs and there's so much incredible demand?
Kind of both. The whole thing was very shocking. Like we just kind of like went to bed that night and didn't think it was that big a deal, and then like woke up in the morning and we're just like, what the actual fuck? This is very crazy. I'm very curious where this whole thing goes because like even when you look at like Web2 and like I mean, Maisie was talking about sort of like how she kind of got famous in the early days of like Facebook and all that stuff, kind of when that stuff was starting. Like I feel like that stuff kind of took off really slowly. And you know, like I remember Facebook existing, and it kind of existed for 2 or 3 years before I got on it. Like Twitter existed for a few years before I like got on it. And those things were sort of like and then, you know, you get on them and like most people still aren't on them. And then like they're slowly building up, and it feels like those things like were like slow in their development. And then like TikTok was like pretty fast, and like now Web3 feels like even faster, and it's just sort of like I feel like they have less time to like figure out what they are. But anyway, I'll stop. I feel like I'm monologuing.
No, I'm with you, because they say things happen slower than you would ever expect and then faster than you would ever imagine. And so I think, Maisie, I'd love to also jump in and figure out how you've been using this more decentralized vision to actually empower creators.
Yeah.
Can you share with us some of the projects you've been working on in that space?
Yeah, I think what's really exciting is like the perks side of like NFTs and like the things that you can give away like to people as like another benefit outside of like having like sole ownership over something. And I think like the film industry is like so mysterious, and like a lot of the things that people look at day to day actually become like really valuable like once a film is done. and for example, you look at like call sheets, like original call sheets from like the early Star Wars films, and like they're so valuable now, and like once they were just like handed out like freely on set. And so I think it's really interesting, like the things that people see as valuable. And so yeah, we're just kind of looking at how we can like unveil all of those things within the creation of a film, and in the process raise money to fund the film. And like rather than people simply buying something, they also then are like a contributor to like something being made. And I think that it's like an interesting pivot that like Web3 is starting to take, and like people are really looking at NFTs as like a badge of being part of something bigger than themselves versus like simply being a piece of art. Like being a producer, like if you're going to be investing in this, like you are a producer of a film, and like what does that look like versus just crowdfunding money. That's not why Web3 is exciting. It's not about like raising a lot of money from a lot of people. It's about like, yeah, spreading out the playing field.
I've been so impressed to learn you have a production company called Wrapped and 2 networking platforms for creatives, Contact and Daisy, all in service to artists. What will success look like for you with those initiatives? You've talked about fair rewards across the arts and about celebration of talent. Is that what unites them all?
Yeah, I guess so. Like with Wrapped, I think is definitely like giving the creative vision back to the filmmaker, but also allowing an audience in to influence like the journey of a character or like the decision like of what happens to a film after the fact. And then at Contact, they're really looking at how you can unlock a lot of the perks of Web3 and make it super accessible for artists in order to be able to make their work purchasable or like generate NFTs, and just like create a lot of different ways for an artist to be able to make money versus simply being booked for an hour of their time.
And Grimes, can I extend that to you in terms of exploring the possibilities of virtual live performances? We've seen musicians gathering huge crowds inside video games, of course, with Marshmello and Ariana Grande, inside Fortnite, and more recently, 100 Gex and their Minecraft Music Festival. I'd be fascinated to know how you think your music, the concert experience, and engagement with your fans will evolve in the metaverse. Is the future of performance virtual as you see it?
I'm sort of like less interested in virtual performance than I am in other things. I don't know, like I think, for example, like the way Web3 can interface with music videos is more interesting than the way it can interface with like virtual performance right now. I think, for example, like music videos are something that it's like very hard to monetize, and it's kind of like a labor of love for everybody, you know, and it's like one of the things that like really interests me about NFTs and Web3 is like you could, you know, give everyone working on a music video a percentage of that and then like make that an NFT, and then you're able to sort of like kind of pay back the people who've been working on the music video in a better way than like we currently can do it. One of the things that's really interesting about this technology is like a lot of modern art forms are very difficult to monetize. Like podcasts are pretty difficult to monetize. Like digital painting is like super difficult to monetize. Like I'm looking at people kind of like doing stuff on Patreon or doing commissions. It's like $15 for like an original painting and stuff like this. Yeah. And I'm like, we're in this kind of digital art renaissance right now. And yet we've grown up in the Spotify era and the streaming era, and we sort of expect art to be free. And one of the things that I think that sucks about the current like opinion of NFTs is like this thing that's like really negative, is that it's actually like one of the best ways to sort of like enter the new digital era of paying artists. But I think live performance is already something that is easy to monetize. There's like a greater benefit to stuff like digital art, podcasting, and cinema, for example. I think cinema is still, even though cinema is well funded, only certain types of cinema are well funded. And you know, that's a lot of like remakes of things that are already popular, and it's harder to make sort of like original content and new franchises and that kind of thing. And I think this will be good for original content and new creators, particularly.
yeah, I think that we're overrun with remakes and reboots. And I think it's because like a streamer will invest in something if it's going to get new signups. So like the people who already have a subscription are like effectively like not valuable because they like already have a subscription. So it's about like getting new people. It doesn't really become about making something that's really good. It just like needs to be marketable enough that it will reach like new audiences. And yeah, I think there's just a real hunger for original stories. I think like they're always the films that do the best. Like they're always the movies that we watch time and time again. And like when you base everything on like an opening weekend or on new subscriptions, like you stop making things that will be watched for the rest of time. And I think like with NFTs and yeah, with like the secondary market, it like rewards rewatching a film, like enjoying it multiple times, like time and time again, and it having like a long lifespan or even a slow burn or even like a cult following versus like just being subject to like one weekend and how many people saw it then. Because yeah, I think all of, the movies that we hold closest to us, like I bet if you Googled it, like it probably had a terrible opening weekend. But it doesn't mean it's not a good movie, so...
Grimes, you dropped some incredible music videos this year for the singles Shinigami Eyes and Player of Games. I wonder if we could talk a bit about the process behind those and how that's changed since the early days of tracks like Genesis and Oblivion.
The big thing now is like I have a much bigger budget, which is just amazing.
That helps. Does that help?
Yeah, it really helps a lot. It really helps
just
a lot.
checking it didn't stifle your art.
No, I mean, Oblivion and Genesis were very much like, you know, doing everything yourself kind of thing. Well, which is still kind of like the case here, but like, you know, being able to work with directors and stuff is huge for me. Like I worked with Anton Tammy for Player of Games and Brother for Shinigami Eyes. Whereas like I've never done that before. Usually I've been like edit, color, like every like direction, like budgeting, like just like it's me or me and Mac, my brother, just kind of like doing everything and bleeding over it and literally like just like personally spending hundreds of hours in the myself editing, which actually still ended up happening this time, but like with other people, so it was less blood on the floor, metaphorically. You know, I keep saying the best tool is like another human brain, but it's like the big thing I've been able to realize this year is just like if you have the right partner. Like I was very, very, very careful about who I worked with on these videos because I've never worked with anyone before. It's kind of like getting a tattoo. Like when I get a tattoo, I just find an artist who I think is incredible. I'm just kind of like do what you think would look good, you know. Like I trust you. My latest tattoo is on my chest. I don't know if I can show this.
No one can see here. Don't worry. You could talk us through it because only the three of us here. That looks. Oh, it's white. It's the white tattoo.
White.
Okay, tell us more.
Okay, sorry, that's showing you guys my boobs, but and also sorry, I have like a cold, so I'm like my nose is running.
We all have colds.
Me. But
it's a pandemic.
Yeah, it's not COVID, so
everything is forgiven. Tell us about this latest one. That's really brilliant.
So yeah, this person Noelle did it in New York. I was in New York. I found them at the last minute. Their art was really good, and I was just like, hey, can I roll through and just get a tattoo? And then I just rolled through and they kind of already had some designs. And I was like, can you do that in white? And they do hand pokes. And I have to say, they're one of the best tattoo artists I've ever worked with. It was like, it didn't hurt at all.
Ooh.
Yeah, they're glamour_spells on Twitter.
Can you share what the image of? Because it's white, it's hard to see. What was the inspiration for the latest?
It's just kind of like random elfy tech energy. Yeah.
Love it.
Shinigami Eyes and Player of Games, in terms of the inspiration there, anything there about the stories that took you in a particular direction?
I mean, Player of Games is sort of it's sort of like the main character is like a simulated girl. And have you guys seen The Seventh Seal by Ingmar Bergman?
No.
Okay, well in that movie, like the guy's kind of like playing chess with the devil. And you know, when he loses the game, he's gonna die or whatever. It's been a really long time since I've seen this movie, so I'm probably not. I might be messing up the plot here, but I in book one, like part of the story is about this like simulated girl. She's sort of like a simulated concubine, like companion character. and she's sort of like she's playing games with her creator. And
The creator.
who's like laughing over there.
It's a good laugh.
Yeah, it's kind of like this sci-fi, like matrixy, like sexy version of like the Seventh Seal, if that makes any sense.
Love it.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's incredibly exciting.
It's like a cyber Marie Antoinette playing chess with her creator, or playing a variety of video games with her creator in a simulation, and see if she gets to like live or not.
See, we're back to France in the 18th century. So all
Yeah,
roads
here we
take
go.
us back to the Enlightenment, which is incredibly exciting. And I know, Maisie, you're also doing some amazing things with your voice, even though we're not going to see Arya Stark back on screen. Maybe you can tell us a little bit in terms of multiverses and what we've been reading there.
Yeah, they're doing like a Super Mario Smash Bros, but with like Batman and Arya and like
Oh my God, that's so sick.
yeah, like Shaggy
That's literally
and
so sick.
Scooby-Doo and like just like a bunch of random people, which is really, really cool. And so I got to go and like record a bunch of just like the like when your character's like winning or when it's like losing, and when it's like cheering from the sidelines. And so it was like really fun to play Arya in like a just a more light-hearted way, I guess. So it was good to
I'm
play
literally-
her again. Yeah.
Literally gonna play that so much. That literally sounds so good.
It was so funny. Like, I didn't know anything about it when I got there, and I thought it was going to be kind of like a world exploration game, and like, it's been a long night, and like, you should rest now, and like, which is like cool, but like, and then when I got there and I realized that it was like way more lighthearted and like, yeah, just like these little mini games. It was just so fun because like Arya's never in that kind of situation. Like, it's more expected for her to do like some deep like monologue when you're at a checkpoint of a game. And so it's fun for her to just be like giving sass to Batman or like Scooby-Doo. So it was good.
I love that. You brought out another side of yourself as yourself in a video game. And I
Yeah.
know I just remembered, of course, that you are both such avid gamers. Have you ever played with each other? And what do each of you love to play?
We should play. We haven't
should.
played with each other yet.
No, we were just talking about this earlier. We play some of the same games, but I don't know if like I don't know if any of them we can play together on, really.
Are you
We
passive?
could
Are
play.
you
We could
active?
play Elden Ring together.
Okay, yeah, that works.
Maisie, what's your passion or your poison?
We
when it comes to
yeah,
gaming?
we were saying I like world building games, like Stardew Valley or Minecraft and like that kind of peaceful thing. Or I like the like battle royale thing. I play a lot of Fortnite, and then I've also played Apex, which I've started to get into and I really like.
Now, when you're gaming with people, do they know it's you? Or is there secrecy and anonymity that are part of the fun? How does that work for you as such incredibly public figures with huge followings?
That's
I just play with my friends if I
Yeah.
play with anyone. But I'm sort of like Maisie, where I haven't really played video games in a minute right now. I just got a gaming laptop.
Wait, you have a
But,
baby. You're kind of busy.
Yeah, I'm
You've got
kind of
an
busy. right
album
now.
and a baby and the NFTs. There's a lot going on.
Although I'm like about to start. Oh, my dog. I might have to let my dog out in a sec. But I just got to hang on one sec. I have to let this dog out because he's gonna start freaking out.
What's his name? What kind of dog is he?
His name's Marvin, and he's like, I don't know what kind of dog he is. Here, hang on one sec.
I like to play with like friends, and then I also do occasionally. Well, yeah, I really love playing anonymously and like just chatting with people, and they don't know that it's me. No one ever recognizes me. I love it. It's so fun.
Do you play with random people on the internet?
Yeah. But actually, I play on Fortnite a lot, and like the main playing age that people who play Fortnite are like they're very, very young. they're like kids, and so I'm more like, hey, like, what's up? And then they're like, hello, and then I'm like, okay, well, I don't know. Yeah, I just like, yeah, I feel a bit uncomfortable then, and I don't want to like freak them out or anything. So then, yeah, and so I sometimes you just like to play with strangers.
Has anyone ever recognized you ever?
No, never. I don't know.
Crazy.
Yeah.
That's so interesting.
But it's mainly because they're 8, so they haven't seen the show.
It's interesting what you said, Maisie, about the generations and the way that people interact with technology changing so dramatically from one generation to the next. The last guest I had on the series, it was the designer and artist as Devlin and Pharrell Williams, and they were saying how much they were learning in terms of technology and video gaming while watching their kids. And that really makes me ask Grimes in terms of baby X. Do I have the pronunciation right?
Yep, little X.
Little baby X. Okay, little X.
Yeah, little X.
Little X.
What are you learning?
Or X.
Okay, give us the full name, just for our own knowledge, so we get it right.
I mean, XAI Archangel. Or XAI Ash. Or XAI A12. His name is open to interpretation.
Love it.
Beautiful. Love it. And as you look and you interpret, are you optimistic about the future of the digital world for him?
I think so. I think everyone's like really kind of diagnosing where we're going wrong and where we're going right. And so right now is like a tricky time, and there are aspects of it that are painful, but I think we're going to get it right in the long term. I think the big thing is sort of like the mental health aspect of the digital world. Like, we sort of jumped into the deep end, and people didn't really consider because there's no way to know. Like, there's no way to realize how intense it's going to be on social media and everything. The way I kind of see it is sort of like everyone, like the whole world, suddenly got exposed to everyone else's brain and state of mind at the same time when there was no way for that to happen before. So obviously it's painful and intense, but I think ultimately it's like a good thing. And I think a lot of the things that like we're finding very painful right now are ultimately going to lead to a lot of solutions to problems that we've never been able to find solutions to before, because it's much harder to just sweep something under the rug now. I feel bad for Gen Z, because like Gen Z specifically is like having to come of age during this moment that's kind of like finicky while we figure out how to like calibrate our human brains and the internet to each other. But like I feel like X's age, like I think they're calling it like Gen Alpha or whatever. Like I feel like by the time those kids are teenagers, we're gonna be in like a really cool spot with how social media is and everything. And we're gonna have figured out a lot about mental health and how these things all work together, and how to be online but be still good to our brains and everything. Yeah, I don't know. I feel pretty optimistic. I think this is a good thing. I think ultimately there's going to be a lot more democracy of like people's voices in the long run.
Both of you have made comments about the pressures of the film, the music, the television industries. If you had a magic wand, what are some of the changes that you would bring in to make those cultural sectors healthier, more robust, and crucially, more sustainable?
I sort of feel like everything comes down to the energy grid. It's like we keep talking about like limiting our behaviors as opposed to like there's this Buckminster Fuller quote which I'm gonna butcher here, but it's something like don't try to tear down old models or like destroy old models, but like rather render them obsolete with better models. It's definitely like those are not the words, but that's the
creative destruction. Exactly. Schumpeter and all that.
Yeah. Just make something better. And it's like instead of like destroying the fossil fuel industry, just make better things that are electric. You know what I mean? Like more carrot, less stick kind of situations. And so like I really think the answer to a lot of this stuff is just energy grid. And I think if it's not going to be governments, then institutions and communities need to start replacing our own energy grids. Like, I think that is a solution. Like, I don't think we can rely on governments. I think we kind of have to start taking this on ourselves, because Greta is out here like yelling and it's just, they are not changing. And so I think rather than wishing they would change, I think we have to start taking this on ourselves. And I think that's one of the things I want to start doing over the next couple of years is like reorient my life into finding ways to, I don't know, like raise funds and like start building sustainable energy grids, and that kind of thing.
You said there might be a career shift coming, so we're just waiting and watching. This is pretty exciting.
This
the
is
direction of travel.
Yeah, it's just pure sci-fi theorizing, with no basis in action or expertise. So just putting that out there. But that's like what I would do. You know, yeah.
Are you focusing on this planet, or are you also hopeful for intelligent life form in other places?
I mean, I'm obviously extremely invested in humanity becoming a multiplanetary species, and I do think that humans, or at least robot bodies going to Mars and prototyping solutions on Mars will be a super positive thing. I think we're going to be able to see things either succeed or fail on Mars. I think right now on Earth, it's very hard to try new things like this. It's very hard to try like a super crazy radical idea, you know, and there's human lives at stake. And so you also want to be very careful with that. But I think we'll be able to prototype a lot of cool things and bring back the technologies and systems that work to Earth and try them here. And I think that's sort of like a cool benefit of space colonization that people don't talk about a lot, but that could be really cool.
Yeah.
And Maisie, you feature in a new series about the Sex Pistols I've been hearing about. What can you tell us at this stage about that?
Yes. It was so much fun. We filmed, it was directed by Danny Boyle. It's a 6-part show, and it was filmed during the lockdown last year, the beginning of 2021. And it was incredible. It's like all about Steve Jones, who was the lead guitarist of the Sex Pistols, and about his childhood and forming the band, meeting Malcolm McLaren and Vivienne Westwood, and them kind of like generating this band. And I played a character called Jordan, and she, in retrospect, is kind of like a punk icon, but at the time she really was just like the original fashion influencer, and she was kind of like the personification of Vivienne Westwood's shop and brand, and like did a lot of public speaking for them. And like the Sex Pistols were kind of to just to bring more business to the shop that Vivienne ran at the time, which was called Sex. And so
that was down the King's Road, right?
Exactly, on the King's Road.
Right, yeah.
And so, the story kind of just like dives into all of those things, and you meet a bunch of other people that we know and love. Susie Sue features heavily, Sue Catwoman, Helen of Troy, Chrissy Hind. But yeah, it was a really amazing show to do, and I had the best time, and we got to wear the most insane outfits and like recreated a bunch of like archive Vivienne Westwood looks, which was amazing. And yeah, we shot it like during the lockdown, so I just felt so grateful to be out of my home. And yeah, I'm really excited for it to come out.
Well, that sounds literally so sick.
It was good fun. I think people are gonna like it. I actually watched a little bit of it today, and like the edit is like full like Danny Boyle like heart attack. So it's he was like, I don't know how bingeable it's gonna be because it's like quite intense, you know, but I'm sure people will find a way.
So cool. Do you guys have any last questions for each other? This has been such a pleasure and a privilege to spend this time with you both.
Yeah, I guess kind of like back on the fame and the responsibility thing. It's so nice to talk about these kinds of things with you, Grimes, and I think that you like speak about them a lot. But yeah, I guess that does come like with a real pressure and responsibility. And I want to know like how you navigate that and how you know when to speak and when to not.
I will. It's been great to talk to both of you two, actually. Thank you so much for having me on and inviting me, first of all. And to answer your question, I actually think I have handled it very poorly and not been as eloquent or responsible with my words or thoughts as I should be. And I think like one of the things I've been like realizing over the last year is like to stop being in denial about my life and take things more seriously and speak with more care and thought Although at the same time, I think it's really ideating and stuff is really important. But there is just a lot to navigate right now. And I think solution-based thinking is just always the answer. You know, as you were saying, I don't know, my favorite quote is the Star Wars quote from episode 8, don't kill what you hate, save what you love. I think the big thing is to just keep focusing on saving what we love and not killing what we hate,
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know if that's a good answer, but
No, it's really good.
I don't know if I have as good of a question for you. I'm just like, I'm very excited about this Sex Pistols thing.
Yeah, and we should play together. We will play some
Oh, yeah,
games
we should-
together. Yeah.
We should play games. We should totally play games.
That'd be good. To be continued.
Yeah.
Offline.
I will set up my I will set up my computer and text you.
Yeah, wicked.
Well, beautiful.
Sick.
Thank you. On that note, you have both been so eloquent and responsible with your words and your thoughts today. Incredibly grateful for that. Maisie Williams and Grimes, thank you so much for connecting with us today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
thank
thank
you for
you so
having
much.
us. Thank you for
Such a
guiding us
pleasure.
through.
Have a good one.
Arms in the air. I don't know.
Thank you for listening to Chanel Connects. Don't forget, you can follow the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Amazon Music, or your favorite podcast app. You can also listen back to Season 1, featuring conversations between Pharrell Williams and Ez Devlin, Keira Knightley and Lulu Wang, and many more.